Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the IdOMUSIC podcast, and our goal and our mission is to empower and educate musicians and artists worldwide. And on today's episode, we sat down with the owner of management firm The Diop Agency and Senior VP of A&R at Republic Records, Amina Diop, discussing falling into the music business, developing artists in 2018, and being progressive and evolving with the business. Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the IdOMUSIC podcast, and I'm sitting down with now Senior VP of A&R at Republic Records, as well as the owner of the management firm, The Diop Agency, Amina Diop. How you feeling?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. It's been, I thought it was like 2 years because it felt like so long ago for me, but we spoke back in January of 2017 here at Patchwork for the weekend workshop, and a lot of our attendees found it very, very inspiring, educational. So we wanted to have you back for this podcast to actually have you sit down and talk to us.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. And a lot has changed. Congrats on your new position at Republic.
Thank you.
You think it's long overdue? Like, do you believe you've gotten that credit you deserve in terms of like what you've attributed to the industry or the business?
I don't know if it's long overdue because it's not something that I set out to do, to be a music executive per se. So, you got to be humble and thankful for little jewels.
So you've been working independently and with your own business for years. Why work for a company now, or why become the music exec? Like, what made you make that decision?
You have to grow in life, and just every opportunity that's handed to me, I try to at least give it some kind of attention or energy, because it's just the evolution of me as a person. When I was young, I was like, kids, what? Ew, I don't even like kids, honey. I don't even want to be around somebody with kids. You know what I'm saying? But then when you become an adult and you're like, wow, damn, who's going to take care of me? I'm going to be old and lonely. Like, I need some kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the evolution of me as a woman, as a person. And that's the reason why I do.
So we thinking about kids. That's what you're saying? You thinking about family?
No, I'm not thinking about kids, honey. I already got 2 kids. I'm trying to forget about them. Shit. No, I'm just kidding. I love my kids.
I feel you. Nah. Okay, so how has your personal journey been leading up to now? Like, have you ever wanted to quit this business? Like, you've been in the business for a minute. Like, you've worked with your clients, of those that are not familiar, with Gucci to Young Thug to Keisha Kayor to starting off with Buffy the Body. We know that, right? But have you ever wanted to be like, I'm not really feeling this music business? Or has it just been like one thing after another for you?
I think it's like been progressive, because I didn't start in the music business. I was kind of working with girls, and I was always surrounded by my peers. I was young, I was in college. It was like working for me then. And then as technology changed and as the industry changed, I just changed as well, because like if you don't evolve,
you won't grow. Yeah,
then you'll die. So
it's true.
That's Charlamagne said that this morning too on the Breakfast Club, and I was like, damn, that's deep, because that's how I think.
That's real. So, like, let me ask you, how'd you get your start in the business? I know it started with working with model/video girls. But what was that first big move for you that said, like, hey, this is where I'm at?
I was working when I was in college, I was working at a collection agency the whole time. Like, I put myself through college, and I was just like, I'm good as soon as this makes as much money as that. You know what I'm saying? I was young, and I was making a lot of money for me to be that young in collections, because I really was good at what I did. Yeah, I'm calling you like, yeah, you gonna pay this bill, okay? Like, yeah. So as soon as it evened out, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna quit, my job. And the actual owners of that agency, actually, when I was being a party promoter, because for a stint I thought I was a party promoter, horrible party promoter, by the way, it fucking sucked. But they invested. Like, I was like, I need to rent this club, I have to have a bar guarantee, and they gave me the money. Like, they just were like, this is not for you anyway. Right. You're gonna go out and do something great. So here, we're gonna give you this money, this blah blah blah. So everything I felt like was for me. It happened for me, because like, whose boss does that?
Right.
You know
exactly.
What I'm saying?
Wait, so what did you go to college for? What were you in school for?
International business and global marketing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So business is business is business.
Business is business. Yeah. So like, I guess like being from New York, it's obvious. We can hear it clearly.
Mm-hmm.
How has that influenced the way you move and like navigate through the business? I think that you've pretty much made Atlanta your home for years now, but there's a different energy in Atlanta. I've spoke to a few guests about this in the past. There's a different energy here in Atlanta than New York, obviously, but also a lot of successful people that I know in the business are from New York. So I wonder, like, what is it about New York? What is it about the way you have to move in New York that I guess has influenced the way you do business?
New York is a overcrowded, congested, melting pot of life. You know what I'm saying? So you have to just navigate through New York. Like, it's like sink or swim. You know, like someone throws you in a pool, it's like either you're going to make it or you're not, you know? So it's less about the glitz and glamour of things and more on survival. Like, damn, am I going to, you know what I mean? Like,
am I gonna make
in New York, most people, we live with our parents till they die and then we inherit the house. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, I got to move out, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just trying to make it and, like, help your family. So it's like, it's a whole different energy where it's like, I got to make it, you know? I found in Atlanta, it's probably, I've been to some rough areas here, so it's probably that too. But a lot of times I see they recircle. You know what I mean? Like, not many people make it out. Like, if they've been impoverished in Atlanta, it's like a vicious cycle that repeats itself. If their parents had them young, then they have children young, and then their children, you know what I mean? Like, they don't, you know. In New York, it's kind of different because there's nothing comfortable in New York. Even uncomfortable places in Atlanta, to me, seem comfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
New York, like, you see it like, damn, like, this is life, you know? So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask, why artist management? We know that, like, time and time again, people describe artist management as like glorified babysitting. But you've created an entire management firm with the Diop agency to manage artists and to manage talent, rather. So why do that? It seems like you have to be a pretty selfless person to want to be in that side of the business.
Accidental, firstly. I did not sign up to do this. And it's kind of like a calling, because it's not like really I'm managing per se. Like, it's more like you're assisting people get to their goals. And while doing that, because it is a selfless kind of situation, but since it's for profit, of course it's not all the way selfless.
Right.
But if you align yourself with the right people, then their goals, your paths cross. So a lot of the things that, you know, while they're experiencing these things like traveling abroad and doing things, you actually can live your best life as well, you know? And not on the back of that person's sweat and tears, but alongside of them, you know? And that's kind of like how I run my company.
Why would you say you're the right person for that job?
It's just a temperament. It's like, you cannot just be a good manager. Like, you can't learn that. It's like being able to become whoever that talent needs you to be at that time, you know? Because every manager, you can be a great manager and you just can't work with Gucci, you know what I'm saying? Or you can't work with Keisha or Malaya or Rosa, whoever. It's like a right fit. It's like a relationship, you know what I mean? Like, you have to find your right fit. I can't just manage anybody.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And
So
anybody shouldn't want me to.
So you're selective in who you work with, essentially.
It's energy, like, that brings you together with a potential management client. That's all it is. Like, if you get the wrong fit, it's going to be fucked up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So people often, well, let me ask this too. So what are you looking for in potential talent? Like, when choosing to work with someone, is it like an initial meeting? How does it work? Is it organically that these things happen?
Definitely. Oh, never any other way.
Yeah.
I think the only person, people have brought people to me and I don't end up working with them. Like, the chemistry is organic if any relationship or any person that I work with has happened that way. Never like, oh, I'm going to go scout to look for none. And, like, even now, like, I don't plan on managing any other artists unless something comes, you know, like, again, comes to my lap and it's like that. Otherwise, I'm not looking. I don't scout for it. The only thing that we're scouting for at the company is, like, new talent. And that's to be signed, you know, on that side. But as far as management, I'm not looking.
Not looking to do that. Okay, so people speak about artist development and like, I guess it not really being a thing in 2018. Could you tell us what it means to develop an artist and why you believe it's still important? I mean, you're obviously the VP of A&R currently at Republic, so I don't know exactly what that means you're doing now in 2018, but I know in the 90s and the 2000s, people were developing artists. That was a thing. Now, a lot of times when you go to the label, they expect you to pretty much have everything in order or a solid brand, you know.
I mean, it's great if you do have like a team, you know, if your music is already moving or bubbling or like charting or doing something, only because the way people consume music, right? And I speak about this often when people ask me, it's like, it's different now. The consumption rate is so quick. So you can be up to market like live. I can make a song right now, right here at Patchwork, you know, and upload it to SoundCloud. And if I have a big enough following or if anybody cares, I might be just pop off and be bubbling like just that quickly.
Thanks.
So artist development, another reason why it's just dying is just because the artists are developing themselves.
Exactly.
Not necessarily the right way or the best way, but it's happening and it's working. It would be different if these things were going on and your song is not, you know, number 4 on the Billboard chart. You're like, what? Like, where did this kid come from? So it's not a case where like, oh, they have to be mentored and nurtured. Like, music, the numbers are saying otherwise.
Exactly.
So you can't fault the label for wanting you to already have something moving when it's point proven in case.
That
like,
they don't have to do that.
Things are moving. Like they'll move on their own if you have a big enough social presence.
Absolutely. So on the flip side, though, for an artist that may not be fully developed, is that something that you find important to do?
Yeah. I mean, anything that you do, I feel like you should perfect your craft. Not just because Triple X or, you know, Juice WRLD or even Gunna or somebody, like, we're able to do it and this is 9 and 30. And you're like, okay, well, this is going to happen. Like, that may not happen for you. So if you're an aspiring artist, I still think that you do need to take the steps that are, you know, that are needed. Like, go to A3C Festival, you know, go to do some of these other things. What's the one in Austin?
South by.
Go to South by, you know. Perform at your local club. Fuck with your DJs, you know what I mean? Do the things that you can do. Do your footwork. I don't care if you got to go to the mall. I still be in the airport or the mall and be like, hey, Miss Lady, can I interest you in a, you know what I'm saying? But at least that person has a grind, for real, you know? Like, he's out there trying to make it. So I would say still perfect your craft and don't look for the shortcut. You know, like, do your work. Do your homework.
So you work with a lot of artists who are some of your clients. I mean, we know Gucci. That's probably why you have a relationship with us here at Patchwork, I assume. When's the first time you developed your relationship here at the studio? Because that's obviously how I met you.
It's been years because I've been in this studio with all kind of people like that are just outside of them, you know. Like, of course, everyone in Atlanta, but you know, just anybody comes through Patchwork. So I think I've had a relationship here since I've been kind of in the music
business.
Period.
What really prompted you to? Because when you were working at the collection agency when you were in college, this was in New York.
No, here.
It was here. Okay, so you've been in Atlanta since college. Okay, cool. So what would you say, because we talked about the energy here and the difference between here and New York, but what would you say it is about Atlanta? What makes it so special? What made you want to be here?
Atlanta's studio culture is super progressive, like nowhere else, period, that I've seen ever. And that's anywhere. And I'm a New Yorker, yes, but I'm an ATL resident. So I'm an ATLian transplant as well. So the vibe here when they're at their best is like, you come in the studio, like, because the studio is the hangout, so you'll have magic happen because this one may come through and then that one may come through and then they're like, oh yeah, jump on this song. What? Yeah, cool. Like, pull that up. Like, you know, like, it's like something that doesn't happen anywhere else. And when you watch it happen and then it manifests and then you hear records, you know, you're like, damn, you know, like, only in Atlanta.
Only in Atlanta.
Only in Atlanta. Because anybody, you know, like, I've been in Atlanta and New York people fall through the studio to come, you know what I mean? And then
Facts.
it becomes something, you know?
So let's talk about how you built your relationship with Gucci and how you began working with him. How did you do that? How did that come about? Because, I mean, like we said, you started with the model side of things and then kind of progressively gotten into actual artists and managing talent on that end.
I can't, like, I've been trying to rake my brain for quite some time on the exact point that I met Gucci. I literally, for the life of me, cannot remember.
Yeah.
And people have been asking me, even when we were doing his book, like, I was trying to rake my brain. I'm like, I feel like we were just born together. Like, because I can't remember, like, the exact
what
place.
point in
Like,
time?
when did that happen? Like, I remember being on the set of the So Icy video. I don't know why I was there. I think I was kind of, like, helping Jacob do some kind of casting for it, but I'm really not sure. Then I remember, like, one time being at a restaurant with him and, like, some other friends in Buckhead, like, at Lenox. But I don't remember the exact, like, there were all these memories, and I just can't remember, like, the initial, like, hey, this is Amina, this is Gucci Mane. Cannot fucking recall. So the answer to that question from now on is that we were born
together,
clearly, in some way. And we've just been friends ever since. It's always been platonic. Like, he's always been like my brother. And I don't know. It's just like we met and we were just like family instantly.
Yeah.
And just forever.
Yeah. Is that ever difficult? Because, I mean, I assume, you know, when you work on a level of, like, management with an artist, you become very, very close, like family, regardless, because you're you're interacting and communicating so much, right? Has there ever been times where you guys, I'm sure there have, bumped heads or not agreed on something, and how do you move past the, like,
well, with Gucci,
that?
I'm not, like, people use management, but for him, I'm not really, like, his manager. Because to me, when you're an artist like that, like a Gucci or, like, someone uber creative like Kanye or Travis or something like that, they can't be managed. So that's not even the conversation. But just being as close to him, because I do his day-to-day stuff, but we have a small team, so it's like me and Todd and then him and our attorney and, of course, wifey, you know what I'm saying? So that's the team. And then we have Sean and, like, road management, whatever, but it's very small. Like, inside of your hand, you can count. So when you work with someone like that, I think butting heads is forever. Because Gucci is like, he says something and that's what it is. Like, so I need to get here to here, and that's what needs to happen. So however the fuck that you make that happen, I'll be waiting for, like, that. Like, it's just kind of the way he is. But he puts that into his craft as well. Mm-hmm. So you can't, like, sometimes it's hard to bump heads with him because, like, it's not hard. It's very easy. Let me take that back. But it's like, you almost feel bad because you want to work as hard as he's working. Because it's like, yo, he's nonstop. Like, he'll be in the studio, then he'll have to wake up, get a jet, go to Iceland, go back to LA, and you're like, what? Like, he's going to do all of that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if he asks you to do something, like, you almost feel like, I need to make this happen because he's willing to do this off no sleep. Like, sometimes I have to be like, slow down, my dude. Like, you know, we are getting older. Like, you cannot operate like this. He's like, what? I'm as old as I feel and I look great. You see me? You know what I mean? And you're like, you know.
Have you enjoyed watching his transformation as much as his fans and supporters like myself? Like, I mean, I wasn't here at Patchwork when he was obviously, like, recording, mm-hmm. But I was here when he returned, and it was just like,
who is this?
360. Who's that? You know? So, and I mean, obviously, you know, Gucci in the Lagoon, like, he's been making some
I picked out that spot. Was it amazing?
It was so nice.
Well, not me, really. Loretta, shout out Loretta. Loretta picked it out. But we did it together. It was a thing. Our travel agent's fantastic. But
dope.
I wanted him to have that experience and just, it's great for him being in the place that he is mm-hmm. now. And to answer your question, the transformation, yes, I'm as proud of him as, you know, anybody else. Transformation has been incredible, but like I said, he's growing. Like, it's like it was inevitable for him to transform, not necessarily for the better, but he was going to transform because we all do. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just luckily, not by luck, by choice, he chose to transform for the better.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I'm very happy for that. I want to ask you, what your day-to-day is like. Obviously, when you came in here, you were like on your phone, you were on the computer, you were making travel arrangements. But what's the day in the life of Amina Diop in terms of, I know every day probably changes, but you're like, this is a Wednesday. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't have days of the week unless, because I have a 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. So unless it is during school time, then I have days of the week.
Got you.
Outside of that, every day is Wednesday,
a day.
Or every day's Monday or Sunday, or pick a day. It's the same day every day. So, you get up and you're instantly checking emails, this and that and the third. I try to go first and just see what's going on with my kids, get my mind together, a little bit before I actually get up out of the bed, try to be all right, boom, this is what I have to do for the day. Let me go make sure the munchkins are straight, everything is good. And then it's just to work.
A 3-year-old? Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
His name is Amin.
Hey,
Shout
Amin.
out Chocho, gang, gang. He has his new thing, and he's like, gang, gang.
That's his new thing all the time?
Gang, gang, and if you're down with his squad. Because he's into football.
Oh, okay.
He loves Odell Beckham Jr. And one of these football highlights, because he's 3 and that's all he watches because he's weird, says that. The background, you have to be careful, parents out there, if y'all are watching. Even though it's rated G because it's football highlights, they might be playing
whatever in the back.
Gangster. I'm like, what, Chocho, what are you talking about? He's doing this gang thing. And I was like, what are you doing? Well, I'm not in a gang. But he is. He's in the Odell Beckham Jr. squad.
I love it. So I keep going back to your new position at Republic because I think it's dope and really awesome to see women bossing up, in executive positions. So shout out to you again. But I read a interview for Variety that Wendy Goldstein described you as the heart of the culture through and through. How have you been able to impact and influence the culture? Why would she say that?
I think it's hard to remain grounded, through this industry. It's hard. People always like, oh, my haters are all this, that, and the third. And, it's just, Wendy and I have a great relationship just because I'm myself all day. I don't get into the room with Wendy or Rob or Monty Avery, even Lucian, and then become yes, and then I'm like, nah, that don't make any sense. That's just stupid. That's not gonna work. Or they'll ask me something and they appreciate that. So, yes, we do need more people that look like us in buildings, in every building on the planet, not just in music. But when we get in those buildings, right? No shade though. We get in those buildings and start getting real coon-like from time to time. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just, so when she says that, it's I bring the regular, my real self and the real culture, what we're really going into. I wake up with my kids and do these things. I'm a black woman all day and not light-skinned black. You know what I'm saying? I'm black woman all day, every day and moving through these streets, So I bring that same energy to everything that I do. It's not been a super hard road. I'm just a realist. I haven't, it hasn't been, but it hasn't been super easy either, So you just bring your real voice into those buildings, and that's why Wendy, feels like that, because I'm just going to be me all day. This is Amina's going to say this now. Enter. Boop.
Enter.
You know what she's going to do,
Yeah, that is very true. Every time that I've had a conversation with you, from the workshop to just seeing you in the studio, it's always been Amina, period. You have a presence about yourself when you come in. How has it been for you to stay grounded, though? To be able to, one, balance having your which we'll talk about later, but balancing your personal life, your own management team, it just seems like a lot. And then also the influence of other people that you may come across that you may even be inspired or influenced by, but, being Amina, period, through and through, how is that? How can you do that? What is it about you? Is it your upbringing? Is the foundation? What is it for you?
I think so. My mom is Jamaican. And my father is Senegalese. He's from West Africa. And those people are very much themselves all day, every day. You're not gonna, you're not gonna change anything with those cultures. And my grandmother is Jamaican as well, but her mother is Cuban. So we have it's a lot going on.
A lot of culture.
And they're not much for excuses. They're not much for apologies. They're unforgivingly themselves. So that's just been instilled early. And so I just don't know any other way to be.
I got
know what
you.
I'm saying? Like, that wasn't an option to change for this. Like,
yeah, saying Jamaican and Senegalese, Cuban, that automatically just
it's a whole
answers the
lot of fuckery.
question.
Like, nah.
We're not going for it. So you said yourself that the industry has changed tremendously due to like technology, streaming. How can you apply those changes to your new role, and like how you would navigate through this new role, or what you'd be doing for the artist, knowing that like marketing has changed, streaming has changed, and what's most exciting about this new position for you, if there is? Because I know I read something where you're like, you're just gonna keep doing pretty much what you've been doing, but just for Republic.
Right. I'm gonna continue to do just basically what I've kind of been doing. Just actually, now I'm supposed to do it. You know what I mean? I did a lot of things through my life that I don't have to do. It's just, it just so happens that, you can put records together or be doing something because you know one artist and you know this other artist. So you're like, oh, let me just put this record together. But now it's like, let me put this record together for real. Because I have a project, I have a movie coming up that, Universal or Republic is, doing or responsible for putting out. So now it's like, with a purpose. Like, I'm not just doing it because this one's in town and that one's in town. So yeah, let's make a song, Now it's like,
This is for this.
This is for this.
That's dope.
Which is great because I have a bunch of friends and I'm able to put them into situations now because I'm in the building. So like, even if you're not signed to Universal or whatever, like we have a personal relationship with, several artists, instead of several artist managers, and I can be like, look, here's this movie, blah, blah, blah. Y'all send me something, so I can, I can do those things, which I feel like is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
For all parties involved. And then it's not like even just about me cutting a check. This is part of my job. So guess what? Here you guys go. Boom. Let me put you in contact. And I think that that's dope and people appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have you ever felt like, because I'm sure you've been maybe the only Black woman or the only woman in a room in several situations, at least coming up. Now it's a lot different. You see more women, you see more Black people doing things, especially in this business. But when you were starting out, was it ever uncomfortable for you to be in those spaces, or were you like, I belong here?
Not really. I mean, the one truism about the music industry is like they generally won't make you feel that uncomfortable, like on the management side. See, I hadn't been on the executive side, so I can't speak to that because I'm sure that there have been times where, brown girls or others, are in rooms and feel away because it's a male-dominated industry. And outside of that, then also not only male, but Caucasoid male or, you know what I'm saying, or female. But in management, the thing about that, which is good and bad, is you're just as important as the person you're standing next to. True. You know what I'm saying? So when Gooch wasn't as hot as he is now, I wasn't getting all of the attention or love or blah, blah, blah that he is when he is, When Thug is at his pinnacle, like, I've always been with people that are so groundbreaking, that I didn't, once they're on their platform, so I didn't really get too much kickback. You know what I mean? Like,
did you start with both? Like, even with working with Thug, were you starting with him as he was growing, or were you okay?
Yeah, I started with Thug like when Gooch got locked up the first time.
Got you.
So it was very early. It was
so like
17 Thug days, like before. Like I came from, like I think he had just put out I Came From Nothing to maybe, like maybe not. But it was very early. Let's put it like that. So we were still at the Brick Factory, like by Memorial Drive. So it was early. It was early, and there were doors closed then, but they quickly, once they opened, like they were like wide open, like because Thug is such an amazing creature. You know what I'm saying? Like it is like something that it just comes once in a lifetime.
So, but like, what are those early stages like? Like, what are the things that you're putting into play? Obviously, you have built some relationships working with Gucci and then working with previous clients, but like, what are the early steps when you're working to develop or work with an indie artist who's just kind of gradually getting there, getting just to music,
making music and having them associate with their peers, which is very important that I think artists need to do. And like,
what do you mean by that?
Associating with your peers. If you're an artist, you need to be with artists and working with artists and making music with artists and being in creative spaces and creative atmospheres that allow you to be creative, you know? Like negativity and all of these things that we push to the front, you put yourself in those zones and, you know, you come up with that music. You know, that's what music is supposed to be, like a soundtrack to your life, right? Or things that you've experienced or stories that you want to tell or places maybe that you want to go. It's like reading a book or creating a scene. So an artist coming up should look to, you know, to be around that kind of energy and get some, you know, get some thoughts and situations and go travel, go experience something. Like, not saying that you can travel wherever, but get in a car and ride somewhere else, see something else, you know. I was reading Jay Prince's book and he was saying, like, one of the stories that he was telling when he was going to see his uncle in prison, like, it was still, I think it was in the same state, but he had to drive, and it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive, and just driving through Texas and seeing these other things, trees and like horses and blah, 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 just puts you in another creative space, even though he's not an artist, but he is to some regard, like, you know, he's a creative person.
Exactly.
So I would tell someone on their way up to, like, live life, you know, and use the tools that you have in front of you, like whether it be the internet or just your voice anywhere, if it's speaking at a boys club or, you know, playing music at a boys club or going to a children's hospital and doing these things. Like, you don't know where your blessings will come from, but, like, live your life.
Absolutely. Great advice. Could you tell us the importance of handling your business? Like, every time I see you, I feel like you're, you know, I mean, even to have a company or a business on your own outside of, like, handling or managing your clients is business in itself. Now working for a corporation or company business, but, like, tell, as a manager, especially for those that are managers maybe listening, or even artists, about how you get paid, how you make this profitable for yourself. Because, like, even what you said earlier was, like, to my question of being selfless as a manager, you were like, but it is for profit. You know, you still consider the fact that this is not that selfless because you're going to get paid.
Right.
But how does that happen? And what should you be doing to make that happen?
As far as managers? It's an arrangement. Just basically, like, you are helping this person navigate through this chapter of their life or and their career or whatever. So it's just, what are we agreeing on? You know, like, if we agreeing on a percentage, or if some people do salaries, like, whatever makes both parties comfortable. Because for me, money is uncomfortable. Like, talking about, like, I don't argue about money. Like, to me, it's, like, super, like, taboo. You know, like, if it's that serious, go ahead and keep it. Because if it's for me, it's gonna come back. You know?
Right.
Like, I just don't like that. So it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. So if that's the case and you have an attorney and the client has an attorney, you can do it there, but always agree amongst each other first, and then, you know.
When does that conversation happen? Before things happen?
It happens
Whenever?
Immediately. It should happen immediately. And as things change, then, you know, the conversation, but it shouldn't be like an ongoing thing where, like, money. Like, your work ethic should make your client want to break bread with you.
Absolutely.
You know, and be excited with you, just like you're bringing them opportunities, because it's not a manager's job per se to bring opportunity per se, you know. That's what agents do. Agents go get gigs. Managers do what their title says. They manage the situation. So they may be the liaison between the label and producers and yourself and the agent and the publicist and blah, blah, blah. So they manage your day-to-day. They're the liaison between your travel agent and all of these things, because they're managing your schedule and your calendar and stuff like that. So that's a job in itself, because it's kind of like you have to keep everything together. Like, what if this person has a dental appointment? It may seem minute or whatever, what have you, but if that person's a singer and he has a fucking toothache, you know what I'm saying?
It's not gonna.
This can mess up a $200,000-$300,000 play. So, you know, everything is just as important, and the management is important when you're at that level. When you're at a beginning stage, I did a interview yesterday, and I was like, you don't need a manager if you can manage it yourself. If you don't have enough emails where you can't personally look at them, then you don't need a manager. Like, for what? Like, why would you even want to do that, or pay someone or cut someone in? And that's not even being stingy. That's just being smart. Like, why would I do that? Like, if I can get on my computer or get on my thing and look at my own emails, I don't need a manager. Or even me, I wouldn't need an assistant. I cannot live my life, like, and manage all the things that I'm doing without my team. Like, I could not.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to
how that could happen.
Speak to the Diop agency, and, like, you know, because I always see, like, and you're very It seems from the outside like a very loyal person. I always see the same people that you've worked with and, you develop these relationships with. But why is that so important for you to have that team, especially when running your business? Because you have multiple clients,
Right.
you have multiple things going on, a personal life, your work life. To balance that, I'm sure is pretty difficult. But like, how important is the team? And then also like, how important is having the right people on your team?
Team is super important because just like people are depending on me to like keep everything together, like I have to have somebody to depend on as well to like try to help me keep things together. So we have calendars and Aisha has schedules and all these things, and she's reminding me, oh, do you remember this? And then she'll be like, oh, Amin's birthday's coming up. Do you remember to plan this? Shit, his birthday's coming up. Like you do stuff like that, where because it's hard, GI's there, he's at the office every day, and then Snake is there, my partner, he's across the hall. I have Jen in Boston, like everything, and they have tasks. So like Jen, okay, boom, what's going on with Pee Wee? What's going on with this? What's going on with Tommy? Like, so they have assignments like that. So they can keep me updated, like, okay, boom, this is going on with that person. What do I need to look at? It's easier if someone's funneling the information and I can look at, okay, boom, this is what's going on now. Let's maybe not do that. She doesn't like this, because your clients are still going to hit me.
Right.
They're going to hit them too, because they're all on group text. I have 1,000 group texts going. I don't even, I'll be looking like, oh, my bad. Sorry, wrong group text. I have a group text with these set of people, this set of security, this person's security, that person's security, like all of those things. It's a lot. And then you have work. You know what I'm saying? That's just Diop stuff. Then I have Universal stuff. So, that is a whole nother thing. But I have an assistant there, Stacy. She's dope. I have a great team there. Like, everyone there is fantastic. Brian's a new young kid. He's like, coming up there. And then Aisha kind of like, she's kind of in between both worlds. University, I need to cut Aisha a check. We can talk about this next time. But, yeah, so, it's difficult, but you have 24 hours in a day.
It's fine.
You know what I'm saying? And you have a lot of time to sleep when you're dead. You know what I'm saying? You'll have so much time that you're not even going to want. You're going to be like, damn, I don't want this sleep right now. You're going to get that sleep. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just live life. If you make your career a passion, something fun, you never work a day in your life.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
But is it difficult to depend on people? Like, I mean, I guess you have probably over the years gotten over that, being able to say like, hey, I trust Aisha to do this, or, Snake to do this. But is it ever like you feel like you're, I guess, running behind someone? I hear a lot of people have trouble delegating and allowing that to happen.
I don't have a problem delegating responsibility. I have a fucking fantastic time doing that. Okay? I love to do it.
She over here nodding her head like, yeah.
I would be like, can you, yeah, I would love, yeah, why not? Yes, do that. Because not only that, but not only just because I don't want to do it, because that's not the case, because I've done it. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything that I ask Aisha or Jen or GI or Snake even, like, anything that I've ever asked of them to do, I've done that before. So it's not like I haven't paid my dues and I just want y'all to do it. Like,
right.
And if you don't do it, I'll do it myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to be doing this too. And then also, when you delegate responsibility to your team, I don't have a team none of my team is beneath me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I cut them checks, but then I don't feel like I'm better than they are. You know what I'm saying? I just started earlier. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you get way past me and I can ask you for fucking favors and money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the plan. Like, I don't want, like, if I'm going to New York tomorrow, like, Aisha's coming to New York because, like, I need her to be there where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Or when I'm not here, she can be my proxy. Like, she has to be able to, like, what's the point of her being my assistant? And then, like, when I'm unavailable or, God forbid, something happens to me, you can't run my fucking company.
Exactly.
The hell? What are we doing? What are we working towards? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it. I'm not there. You need to go. You know what I'm saying?
It seems like you've been in a position to be, like, a music mentor of sorts, or, like, just, like, a mentor to people in the business or coming up into the business. Have you had any mentors coming up, or anybody that's kind of, like, helped you along the way? And what way did they help you? Even if it's not like somebody who was in an executive position, but maybe they were an artist or whatever.
I think I've had tons of help. Like, I think everyone that I've come in contact with. First off, the first person that I was working with, like that outside of Jacob York, because Jacob York was like, I interned for Jacob. But then even when I met Buffy, she explained to me a lot about like being a woman from the South, and like she's from Athens, Georgia, so she's really from the South, and like
I didn't know that.
Coming from a big family, and I came from a big family too, but like all of those things, like she had me understand Georgia Southern culture for real. You know what I'm saying? Like we used to get into it all the time, and I was like, damn, that's so country. She'd be like, don't say, you can't say that. Like you can't say that's country. I'm Southern. Like it's not like that whole thing. And I was like, that's not like rude or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, the shit is fucking rude. You know what I'm saying? Like just certain things. Like so, she was like great for me, like being here because she's like a real Southern girl. You know, she's a Southern belle. So that was dope. And then so I had Jacob, I had Buff. Of course, I've had Gooch. Like all the people I've run into, even Thug's mom, like all of those people, like to just understand like where you're at. You know. I came in contact with so many people so young, like with Scooter and like being with Juice and Waka and even Debbie, even though she's not a Southerner, but whatever. Like meeting her was an experience, you know, just like whether the meeting was good or bad, I've always taken something away from all of these people that I've met, you know. So they've all been inspiration for me, like as growing through these things. And then I had the luxury of like spending time with Jay Prince and like he's, you know, an icon, and K Slay and like just all the people that I've met, and then moving up, and then I'm sat with Lior and met with Lior and worked with him intensely, and Kevin, and just meeting all these different people, but from inside out, you know, which was odd, you know.
Yeah, right.
I've had you know, and now just even being able to work hand in hand with like Todd Moskowitz. Like Todd is like, I always call him Murder Moskowitz. Like he is incredible because I'm high strung. Todd is not. Like, regardless of what happens, like, he can be like, oh, just fuck it. You know, it'll work itself out, or like, whatever. If it doesn't work, you know what I mean? What else can you do? What are you going to kill you? And then you'll see him on his Insta story and he'll be on the beach with Sam, his dog. Like, yeah, well, you know. Someone else had a worse day. Like, today he posted a picture of a fish, an escovitch fish, on his plate. And he was like, someone's day was always worse than yours. And like shit like that is like, you're just like halfway just like the most brilliant person I've ever met. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
dope.
This fish having a way fucked up day than you. You know what I'm saying? And just like things like that. So I've just been like really
in good company.
Blessed, like in good company, even when the company was bad. Because some of this company is bad, okay? But it's still good.
Yeah.
You know? And then like meeting Wendy and Avery and Monty and Rob and like my whole team at Republic Now. Saint and Duro and Nigel and Xtina and like Katina and all these great people that you're meeting, and you're like, there's people like us. It's just like you had to get to go meet them, you know. And like even at Atlantic with Marsha and Ashley, like every team that I'm involved with, Coach P, Ethiopia, anybody has been like more positive than negative, and they all like stick together. Like you can call them and ask them for blah blah. So I think I've just been blessed. Like maybe the good energy I put out, I've just been getting it back. Like just to be surrounded by good people. For sure. And the few bad people that I've been able to have my eyes open to see them early and like cut their head off. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's a good thing to recognize and understand. You can't have all that bad energy in your own space. So let's get to how do you manage to even have a personal life? Because, I mean, I guess Todd is a good example of being able to, you know, navigate and like say, you know, we're just going to, if it ain't work out, it ain't work out. But for you personally, having a personal life while managing a lot of other things and people and business, how is that for you? How do you manage? I mean, I didn't even know that you had a 3-year-old, to be completely honest. And that is like, that just sounds like a lot.
It is.
It's
a lot. But, I mean, you have a lot of time in the day, though.
She's like, it's 24 hours. I don't know excuses.
It's
when do you sleep?
It can be done. I sleep probably like after 2 or 3 a.m. until whenever I have to wake up with the kids, or if I have my significant other, if he's there, then I don't, because then he wakes up with them, and then I'll get up like 9 maybe. So that's good. You get 5-6 hours, like it's good. It's not like I'm sleep deprived. Like that's not the problem. So you have a lot of time in the day. Like there's mad hours if you're always doing something. You can pretty much do anything that you want.
What about like when you're traveling and when you're, you know?
If I'm traveling and I don't have anyone, like if it's a weekend, then like the kids are going to be like at home or something, like I'll either take them with me to my trip, or somebody will stay with them. Like I have my sisters here, I have I have a support system.
That's good.
Not a huge one. There's options are small, but they're there. And if it gets real deep, then I'll fly my mother up from Jamaica and stay.
She lives in Jamaica?
Yeah, she's Jamaican.
I didn't know she lived there. I thought she lived in New York.
Yeah, she lives here. She moved back.
Oh, she moved back.
She's living her best life, clearly.
Clearly, that's what's up. So, I really don't like the question of adversity for women in the industry anymore. Like, I feel like it's kind of like, you're human. We're all humans. Like, we all have the ability to do great things. But I want to ask, how have you used it to your advantage, if you have, being a woman? I think a lot of times, especially for artists who are males coming up, they like to have a woman on their team because it's nurturing, or
women managers are necessary, always will be, and they, it's just in our society, Black women and brown women, because that means Latin too, because I have Latin background, so I can speak to that. Latin women, brown women, Black women, we run our households. So if you have a male artist, female energy should be present.
Absolutely.
It's just, men are confrontational. There's a lot of testosterone, especially in African American or brown households. There's a lot, of things, but that's not just on skin tone, because it's also based on nationality. Because certain men are more comfortable letting women take the lead. Not even though we all see it that way. Your mom usually runs your household. Even if your dad is there, she still run the household, But in certain cultures, it's a no-brainer. They don't even want a male manager. You know what I'm saying? It should be this way, So I think that's added to, my success just because I have a lot of male clients. But even when I've dealt with females prior to, because I come from working with girls, it was fine because I'm an alpha female. So I'm not the manager that was going to go to the club with you and dress up as sexy as you trying to be when you're the host and I'm trying to get that energy. That's not my vibe. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, management is not for everyone. So you have to know when's appropriate to do certain things. Were times in my life that I just wore all black. Because I was this is just fucking easier. It's fine. Wherever I'm going, this will work, you know? So it's not you're ever doing too much. It's not you're not doing enough. It's fine. If you have a black pantsuit, if you have a black dress, if you have a black anything, it's appropriate.
It works,
you know what I'm saying? It'll work. So I was black is my new thing. Just to say that, to be just play your role. You know what I mean? Because, yes, your question was about males, but dealing with females is another thing, because the same thing is true in our households. Women butt heads in our communities as well. Sisters don't, I'm not going to say they all don't, because now we're having all these movements where women are coming together, but generally, it's not women are inviting another woman to be in the room. That's not the consensus overall. Let's keep it a buck. It's not that. Women are oh yeah, I'm just going to have a whole female staff.
Team, right.
I'm going to, no, you don't. You want to be the boss bitch in charge. That's why a lot of people in America were damn, are we ready for a woman president? Just because, that's not the only reason. But I'm just saying, for in other countries, they're progressive. Margaret Thatcher, there's been women leaders, the Queen, when that was prevalent for real, was really a thing. But not to say that it's not now, but I
know what you mean. Yeah.
So that's, when you looking at a coin, look at both sides. Because it's not oh, well, women this and women that. Yes, women but I'm not one for excuses.
Exactly.
So I have a lot of women that I employ. But we have to break that up with some testosterone too, because it just makes sense. Sometimes Snake comes in and is the voice of reason. Sometimes GI is necessary to be the voice of reason when there's women, not because our energy's off, because all of the women that I employ are just women that have vision, that are serious, that blah, blah, blah. Jen has a son, she's a single mom, this, that, and the third. I can help her navigate through certain things. Yes, we do business, but this is still real life. You know what I'm saying? So, it's about the people too. The type of women that are being empowered. If you're in a power position and you're female, or even if you're brown, yes, it would be great to reach back and get some brown or get some female and blah, 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 but
it got to be the right person.
still. And you have to be the right person that's been empowered. Because sometimes the people that have been empowered are not reaching back to even help, or to look for those executives, like not single them out, because if someone's qualified, they're qualified. But if you see a brown face, like that's what they do. I feel like, I don't know if I shouldn't have said that, but I mean, it seems
true,
like,
though.
you get what I'm
It's
saying?
true.
Like you help your community where you're from, so.
You should, for sure. And I'm happy that you said that. And I do think that it's about the person. That's why
It's about the person.
Because originally I wanted to ask him, like, so have you faced adversity being a woman? And I just, I think that question is unnecessary to answer almost.
Right.
It's
you deal with adversity being a fucking person.
In general.
You know what I'm saying? Because like regardless of, I don't know about how it would be to be a white man. Like I don't, but I know white men. You know what I'm saying? And they've had adversity themselves, sometimes inside their own community. You know what I'm saying? Like of whatever. They have shit too. Like everyone does. You know? So yeah.
So what would you say are some like skills, traits, or like just general things that you should possess if you're trying to be in this industry, especially on the management and like business or executive side? What are some things that you just need to have?
I think thick skin, drive, and knowledge of your field, and the willingness to learn, new things, and like, progress. I think the willingness to learn is like a really key thing, because like you don't have it all figured out. Like the way that technology and everything is moving, just like life itself, like just the way our kids are evolving into fucking weirdos and like everything else that's going on, like you have to just like stay in the know and like be educated.
Yeah, I was going to say too, because like with you're seeing a lot of different executives or like people moving into new positions, essentially, because things are changing and you want to be progressive and these companies want to evolve. But for those that have been able to maintain their positions and stay in that evolution is necessary for them too, or just knowing that they don't know it all. Because what I'm learning, even, I work in radio and media in general, but what I'm learning from like a good boss versus like, I guess, a bad boss is that the good boss is like willing to ask me or, somebody who's younger, who's like, what is it that you like and how can we incorporate that into this business?
Right.
So I say that to say that I think that that's super important for somebody.
And keeping young energy around you as you're being an exec, as you're growing, because like time doesn't stop, for anybody. Like keeping young energy around. Like we have an intern at the office, Malcolm, and like he keeps us like, oh, you never heard of Shoo Moo Schmacks Pack? And I'm like, no, Malcolm, no one's heard of that but you. But he's on it early because he's in college. Like he's like, listen. And then the next thing you know, it's like Shoo Moo Schmack Pack as the number 4 song in the country. And you're like, what the hell? Like Malcolm, I told you. Remember I had told you that, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what makes Gucci brilliant. Like he always has like the younger artists and he's always like willing to collab and these things. And that's what makes anybody like genius. Drake, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would he get on that song? That Look Alive song? Like, why?
Right.
Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? But like he always has his finger on the pulse of the, of what's culture. Going on, of the culture. And Gucci's also fantastic at that. And that that's, and even in the executive world, like you have to do that. Like the old ways of doing business are out the door. Like that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So at least if they're not willing to change, and why I think Republic is super progressive, so is all of the universal system, is like, at least they'll identify people who do realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they won't change, they're like, okay, well, let's get some fresh blood in the building and, like,
that will
keep the finger on the pulse.
No, I think that's a great thing. Both management and as an artist, what advice do you have for individuals who want to one day be in your position and attain the level of success that you've had? And I say both as a management and as an artist because I think they're two different sides, obviously, but you can speak to them working with or being that.
Okay. As, like, where I'm going in life, if you want to try to get somewhere similar, I don't know how to get somewhere similar because, like I said, like, I'm not a good person for that question because I don't think that your path can be recreated or you're never going to get on this path, right?
That's true.
Because it's just circumstance and timing and these different things. Like, not that I'm any better than you. You probably get on a way better path than me. You know what I'm saying? Just so
our paths are different.
Yeah. So our paths are always different. And that's what people need to always remember, honestly, is because it worked for this guy, but it's not going to work for you. Like, people say that all the time, like, oh, if I just do this many beats per minute and do the same exact tempo of this song, that song still ain't going to be that song. You get what I'm saying? Because that song is the Migos song. You know what I'm saying? And that song is Future's song. And that song is Rihanna's song or fucking Justin Bieber's song or Louis Fonsi or whatever the hell. It's not for you. So it's not gonna, you can do the exact same fucking song and you can walk it like you talk it and you can do all these fucking different things and it's still not gonna be that. Because it's not, that energy is not for you, right? Boom. That's the answer to that question. But in order to be successful is to persevere and stay on your course to try to, and put yourself in the rooms and around people. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong fucking room. You know what I'm saying? So, like, in order to get to that place, like, don't be scared of that. And don't be scared to work up to it. Like, a lot of people come in expecting this. I interned, I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was willing to do it because it was something I wanted to see. I just wanted the information. Information is power. You know, like, knowledge, learning is power. So you can take this information, remix it, flip it, bounce it, make something else out of it, right? But you have to be willing to work for free. You have to be willing to do the shit that nobody else will do. You have to be willing to wake up early or go to sleep late or vice versa or whatever it is. Like, if you have to become a vampire, that's what it's going to be because this is how these people move, right? That answers that as far as how to get to the point. If you're an artist, really same thing. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be around creative people. Please learn to read fucking music. You know what I'm saying? If you're a producer, learn how to play the piano or read music. Like, there are things that have gone away from the craft, you know? Like, great producers like London, like Zay, you know, like Metro, like, these people know music, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least be able to play the scales, like, know certain things. Like, you can't want to make beats or make music and not know how to read music. That's weird to me.
And that's what I was going to ask, too. Like, what do you think about music right now? Like, I mean, you're obviously still advocating for artists and, like, working with different artists and the progressive, even the younger artists, rather, like, who are coming up. You mentioned, like, Gunna and so on and so forth. But what do you think about music? Like, one, we know there's a lot of artists. There's a lot of music out there. But there are several artists who don't know anything about music. And they're just like, they may make a really great song or they may not. You know, what is it?
They become musical, I feel like. Even, you have to start somewhere, though. You know, like a great pianist or a great clarinet player or a saxophonist didn't sound great initially, you know? So if you're a great artist, you will, but you know, you become that butterfly. Like, it starts, it's ugly when it starts in the cocoon, you know what I'm saying? But when you morph into that, like, it's become something beautiful. So you cannot be a good artist and not make a good song. You know what I'm saying? Like, a good song don't come from a bad artist. It doesn't, right?
Period,
because even if, like, let's say that artist didn't write it and they performed it, right? You connected to it. So that they had to give you some energy. You know what I mean? The writer didn't give you just that energy. The writer mixed with the beat, mixed with the artist gave you that energy, right?
Right.
So,
do you believe that there are still moving parts? Like, because, you know, a lot of times now, like, artists, we said they develop themselves. They do a lot of things themselves. Like, I know an artist who, her name's Young Baby Tate. She produced, mixed, mastered her whole project and sang, rapped, everything, like, herself. And that was, like, kind of the thing behind her marketing her project or whatever. Like, I did this myself and I made it out on my own. So, you know, you don't see a lot of, like, songwriters coming into play unless you're, like, at the label or whatever, that level. Do you think that it's still important to have that, like, team, even for an artist, to have the songwriter, to have the producer in the studio with you? You know what I mean? Like, it's actually making those plays.
It's a good vibe when you have all of those pieces, like, that come into play because, you know, you can vibe and do, if you use that. You know, a lot of people, I mean, it's different genres, you know. In other genres besides rap, that's not a cliche. It's no problem. Like, Beyonce's not going to like, oh, I write every song. No.
Exactly.
We buy into Beyonce not only just because of the song, but because she's a fucking fantastic performer, artist, like, person. Her light, you know, when she turns Sasha on, it's like, what is that, right? So it's it depends what genre you're in, you know. But when you're a rapper, generally you want to, you know, say that you did it. Like, but there's nothing wrong with that either. Like getting little, you know, like little inspiration. You might have your boys in the studio and this, that, and third, and you know, like just the lingo that y'all usually use, and they be like, oh, no cap, or might say something there, and you put it right there. You know what I'm saying? Like the energy's good. So yes, I think that it's important for artists to not only just get beat packs and stuff like that from producers, but actually sit down with producers that are real producers that can produce a song for you, right? Because what A&Rs do, which was your question at one point, you had mentioned that you didn't know what I did, but what A&Rs do is they make records. You know what I'm saying? Like, they make records. Like, you can be a dope artist, but, like, damn, you fucked up on hooks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't make hooks, but your lyrics are great, and this and that and third. Like, how do you get that artist with somebody? Like, maybe just put a singer on the hook then. You get what I'm saying? So that he can vibe, because he's really getting stuck on this song. But the song is, you know?
Good. It just needs
good. It just needs like, those kind of things. There's an art to making records still. You know what I mean? And... you know, or maybe this bar, move this over a little bit on this screen right here to the left. You know what I'm saying? Or like move it over, take that part. Can we double up that vocal there? Like, there are things that go to making records that, of course, y'all know because y'all be in studios.
Right.
But like that people that may not know. It's just, and that also happens as you become an artist. You'll know that. You'll know to move this over a little bit to the left or move this to the right. Or can I stack my vocal here? Or can you take the auto-tune off? Or can you put it on? Or you know, you just learn that from perfecting your craft.
Absolutely. So what's next for Amina? What's it looking like for these next 3 years?
On buying a small island and a jet.
Ooh.
Right? No, that's the plan. Yeah, the plan is like total... like to feel free as possible. You know, that's my end game. And like, you know, for, you know, whoever's giving my eulogy to make it like really good. You know, that's what you do. That's what it is. Like, you're living for your eulogy, what you left on this planet.
Right.
So I don't know what's next for me, but hopefully, you know.
I mean, you just got into, like we were talking about, you just got into a new role. So I think that's like a, you know, different chapter, different point of being an executive on that
already
end.
Gotten though, so now I'm on to the next.
You're on to the next thing now.
That's.
It's like once it's attained.
Once it's attained, like I'm gonna do well in that. Like I said, like that's not. My mind don't work like that. Like, that's not how my mind works. Like, oh, well, now I have to chapter. Nah, that chapter, it's already, it's
already written.
It's done already. Like, I'm there. I'm going to kill that fucking job. Like, I kill anything that I put my mind to, like I said. So now my next thing is, like, I want to do movies. Not me personally doing them. I don't know what I want to do in movies yet, but I want to get into involved, film. Right? And I always wanted to have a hotel. Did you? Do you too? Yeah, like to have a hotel, like, you know, to just be like, oh, and this is like Miss Diop's hotel, like, you know.
That's dope.
Maybe like live at the top of the hotel, like when I get old, like when you have like live in a hotel. That seems dope. Like, and if it was like in Monte Carlo. Oh. Right? Like, and look out and like see the like ocean and like, yeah.
That's dope. And I'm sure you'll get there.
That's an idea in my mind, in my movie mind that I have, because I watch movies all the time. Like, I feel like that would be dope. And be like, yeah, you're walking and like, yeah. You're like, let me go to the elevator because like I live on the top floor. And I don't speak English anymore. I only speak French.
Well, shout out to I Do Film because, you know, we started the film part of, you know, obviously Atlanta is buzzing in film and entertainment. So I'm sure there's ways you can connect there, and like you're with Universal, so I'm sure there's like other ways to connect. I'm
already on that.
Well, I'm excited to hear that part.
That's the next
thing.
Next thing I think.
That's what's up. All right, so we're celebrating the 23rd anniversary of Patchwork Recording Studios. It is a great day, and I know that you, like I said earlier in the podcast, you have been able to like nourish and foster a relationship with us over the years. How have you seen the music community grow with the impact of Patchwork? And then like, how have you been influenced by Patchwork in the studio?
Well, what is the 23rd anniversary?
The 23rd anniversary.
Well, happy birthday.
Thanks. Patchwork.
I've spent a lot of time in this building, like sometimes like Gucci, we used to like do his welcome home parties and all that stuff. Like here, we've had like a lot of things going on in this building. But like Kurt's always been like an open book. Like he's another person. Like you can go to him and ask him things. Like he taught me a lot about like streaming and like coding my music. Like because when I have independent artists and stuff like that, and he's like, no, listen, you need to get your own barcodes. We need to do this and that. And like he'll sit down and like he'll actually go through these. Like first off, who does that? You know what I'm saying? But you know, and then like people become family from this building because like Gucci still works with Corey. Like, Doug was just only working with Staffa, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it became like that. Like, I bug Toya all the time and Oz, and I'm like, open the gate, or doesn't that Toya, can you bump somebody? Let me get some time, you know what I mean? Like, so they've been instrumental in all of my artist career and my career myself as well, just to like, Patchwerk's always here for knowledge. You know, you can go downstairs, you can get something mixed and mastered, you know, come back up, I need a clean, dirty instrumental party ATV track, you know what I'm saying? And then Kurt's always here to ask questions. Like I'll be like, what the fuck is that kind of track? Like why do I need that? And this is and third, and he'll explain. And yeah, so Patchwork is it's
would you say that's the reason
Atlanta, period?
Would you say that's the reason why Patchwork has been around for 23 years, that education component, like what makes this studio, because you even said too, like Atlanta is just like has a studio culture. Yeah. There are plenty.
Because it's like, it's been here, you know, so it's like more so it's a staple.
Gotcha.
You know, like everyone knows like Patchwork. Like even though like, you know, you have Stankonia, you have all these other studios, and yeah, we know those too. But you always know Kurt gonna be there, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, let's try Patchwork. You know, there's been several hits of several huge artists, you know, come through these doors. But not just on that, it's just art. It's a staple. You know, everywhere has one. This is it.
Dope. Well, we appreciate you, you know, always bringing great business here and like just being a part and sitting down, because I know you're busy schedule. But appreciate you sitting down, just like spreading that knowledge and giving the people out there who do want to be, you know, an executive or a manager or artist. I'm sure they'll find some inspiration, some good jewels out of this. Okay.
Good.
All right. Thank you. And once again, tell them where they can follow you, where they can find you on social media.
I fucking hate social media.
Or your agency.
Amina the Diop, THE Diop on IG, and on Twitter I'm just Amina Diop.
Dope.
Just me.
There's another Amina Diop. You had to put the
Amina. So culture time, short. Amina is the Prophet Muhammad's mother in the Quran. So. Like just like if you were Christian, Amina's like Mary. You know, as you know, 1,000 people named Mary. So in the Muslim faith, right, Amina is a very common name. So if you search it now, you're gonna, even on your IG, you're gonna be like, damn, there's 100,000 people named this. Yes, and Diop is a strong Senegalese name, like Cheikh Anta Diop. Most everyone with that last name is related.
Got you.
So
dope.
Yeah, I had to specify the Diop. The Diop. So, yeah.
So you know who it is. Dope. Well, we're happy to have you, and hopefully we'll have you again soon. Okay. Yeah. Get some time. All right. And as always, you guys can find this podcast at IDM Podcast on social media, as well as myself at Sammy Approved. And we look forward to talking to y'all soon. Peace.